Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Please do me a favor, like and subscribe.
I ran away 3 times from her house. I went to a neighbor's. I went to the police. They didn't do anything. Because Jodi is the most convincing person you'll ever meet.
This is Jessi Hildebrandt, Jodi Hildebrandt's niece. If you're following the Ruby Franke case, I'm sure you've seen her story already over on Mormon Stories podcast, but if you haven't, please go watch it. I'm sure you heard her mention how she went to the police and they did nothing. So in this video, we're actually going to go over her police report. Now, Adam Steed also came out and spoke on Mormon Stories podcast, so he and Jessi are at least 2 people that we know of who have reported Jodi's abuse. Now, I actually got these police records from KSL. They did a story on it, but they only highlighted certain segments, so I went through and screenshotted everything and put it all together so we could go over all of it. So they have the name redacted, so whenever you see those big white blanks, that's what that is. So this happened on March 9th, 2010. I was contacted on 3/9/10 at approximately 14:17 hours by the complainant blank regarding questions pertaining to a safe house. I spoke with blank's parents regarding this case, and blank was taken to Vantage Point. On 3/9/10 at approximately 14:17 hours, I spoke with the complainant blank at the police department. Blank stated she is from California and has been living with her aunt Jodi Hildebrandt in American Fork since June of 2009. Blank parents, Scott blank, sent blank to Utah to live with Jodi because they were having problems with her, and Jodi is a licensed therapist who is counseling. Blank was asked to explain why she wanted information on a safe house. Blank explained by saying her aunt Jodi has been mean with her and is very strict. Blank said Jodi has made her sleep in a sleeping bag outside of their residence. She will only allow her to shower for 7 minutes. She has 2 minutes to use the restroom and brush her teeth, and she is not enrolled in school. Blank continued by saying Jodi has called her a liar and told her she was going to be a cheap hooker one day. Blank continued by saying Jodi will not allow her to talk and has at one point placed duct tape over her mouth so she would not talk. Blank also stated she has been wearing the same clothes for 3 weeks, and if she goes into a room, the doors have to be left open. Blank was asked why Jodi was not allowing her to talk. Blank said because Jodi has told her she lies and is a manipulator. I asked Blank for the date and time when Jodi placed duct tape over her mouth. Blank could not provide me with that information. Blank was asked why Jodi was calling her a liar and will only allow her to shower for a short period of time. Blank explained that she has told lies before, and that was one of the reasons why her parents sent her to Utah to live with Jodi. I asked her to explain to me in further details as to what she was meaning. Blank said that she was defiant with her parents and was hanging around people she should not have been around. Blank was asked if she was being physically abused by Jodi, and Blank said no. Blank was asked why she was only allowed to shower for a short period of time, and she could not provide me with an answer. Blank was asked why she was limited on clothing and was not enrolled in school. Blank said that that was one of Jodi's methods of counseling her. At this point, I informed Blank I was going to contact Jodi to speak with her about the situation. Attempted contact with Jodi. I attempted to make contact with Jodi several times and left her several messages to contact me. I was not contacted by Jodi. When I was not able to make contact with Jodi, I made contact with Blank's parents, and then it says contact with Blank parents Scott. I spoke with Scott and informed them why I wanted to speak with them. I asked them questions pertaining to what Blank told me. Scott explained to me the situation as to why Blank was in Utah and being counseled by his sister Jodi. So this is her father. Scott said that Blank is defiant and has reported to the police that she has been physically abused by him. Scott continued by saying that Blank lies and the police have done an investigation and Blank will say nothing occurred. Scott was asked why Blank was not enrolled in school. Scott said that Blank was being homeschooled. Scott explained by saying that Blank was not being homeschooled this semester because they're trying to get her into a wilderness program, which they named the program Blank. Scott said Blank does not want to go to the program, and by her contacting the police was a ploy for her to get out of it. Scott was asked blank about having to sleep outside in a sleeping bag. Scott said that occurred one time, and this was a way to show blank what it would be like to sleep outside. And then it says 5 second contact with. I spoke with blank a second time after speaking with her father and informed her what I learned about her from her father. At this point, I informed blank that I could not make contact with Jodi and I was going to take her to Vantage Point. I explained what Vantage Point was and asked her if she had any questions. She said she did not have any questions. Vantage Point appears to be a behavioral health center, and this is what their About Me says. If you'd like to pause to read the full thing, you can, but it is basically a short-term facility where homeless youth and runaways can come to find refuge. There is no cost, and they have case managers and therapists available to help and provide any resources. Number 6, attachments. A written statement from blank is attached to this report along with the intake sheet from Vantage Point. Number 7, DCFS. I am requesting a copy of this report be forwarded to DCFS. 2 weeks later, Jodi reports her missing. I'm not sure if this is the same or a separate incident. 2, date, time, circumstance of discovery. On 3/23/10 at approximately 17:45 hours, I spoke with the complainant, Jodi Hildebrandt. She stated her niece, blank, ran away from her home and had not been seen since 1200 hours. Jodi said blank was at work with her in Lehigh, blank, when she left. Jodi said she checked the area to include the businesses and was not able to locate blank. Jodi also checked with family members in Utah and also in California. Jodi said everyone she spoke with had not been contacted by blank. I informed Jodi to contact the bus station in Provo. Jodi said she would. I asked Jodi if blank had any medical conditions. Jodi said no. Jodi was asked if blank had any money with her when she left. Jodi said she did not. Jodi was asked if she checked with blank's friends. Jodi said she did that and she does not know anyone other than the people who know Jodi. Jodi was asked if there were any problems between she and blank today that would cause blank to run away. Jodi said she believes blank ran away because she was going to be placed in a girl's home and she did not want to go into the girl's home. Number 3, description of, it says, wrote a note saying that blank, this is a boy that helped blank run away from home in California. When she ran, she spent at least one night at his house, maybe more. We don't know him at all. Blank contacted him on MySpace on 3/9, the first time she ran away in Utah. He gave her the phone number above. She wrote, quote, dude, save me, I'm trapped, end quote. I contacted blank on 4/19/10 by phone and asked for his help in locating blank. He said he would do whatever he can to help locate blank and get her home safe. He said that she contacted him by cell phone on 4/12/10 and she left a phone message saying that things had got bad, so she left. The message said she will try to call him again this week. Blank said that the phone number she called from was blank. I provided with my work phone number and told him to call me the minute he hears from her. I asked him to give her my number and have her call me just to know she is safe and talk about her problems. Blank said he will give her that message. He said she is now going by the name of blank so that people won't know who she really is. I thanked him for his help for the new information. I contacted several other juveniles from the phone list Michelle provided. It sounded like blank was no longer in Utah County, but maybe up in the Salt Lake area, located and returned to American Fork. I made some phone calls on the evening of 4/28/10 in an attempt to contact more of blank's friends from California. One of her friends felt that blank was going by the alias of blank and was not staying with anyone, but was either sleeping on the street waiting for a bed at a shelter or maybe in a shelter. He mentioned something about a shelter called the Road Home. No one that I talked to had heard from blank for about 10 days now. I got on Google and looked up the road home shelters in Salt Lake and discovered there were 4 of them listed. I discovered the one in Midvale was closed this time of year. I called the one blank and was fortunate enough to talk with a worker who recognized the name of the girl who had been staying at the shelter. I asked if blank was at the shelter now. The worker looked on a sign-in list and said, yes, it appears that she is here right now. I explained to the worker that this girl was a runaway juvenile and her parents were very anxious to get her back home safe. I asked the worker to please not let her know the police were looking for her and the worker agreed. I contacted Sergeant Ludlow and advised him on my discoveries and was given permission to take Detective Roosh up to the shelter to locate. Detective Roosh and I drove to the road home shelter in Salt Lake and contacted blank in the shelter. I introduced myself and called her by her name and told her I was here to help her get back to her parents. I told her that her parents have been very worried and concerned about her welfare. Blank was very surprised at being located and was visibly upset. I contacted the parents by phone and informed them that Blank had been located. They were very grateful and relieved. I answered their questions, and Michelle and Scott Blank tried to decide what to do with Blank at this point. They decided to have Blank stay with her grandma and grandpa, Jay and Lauren Blank, who live in Linden, Utah. While waiting for her grandpa to arrive at the police station, I interviewed Blank to discover where she had been and how we can help her. Blank said that she ran away from her Aunt Jodi because she made her run and confess her sins and tried to break her down. Blank said that if her parents tried to get her to go back to live with Jodi, she will run away as soon as she can. Blank said that Jodi is some kind of therapist and thinks she has all the answers, but Jodi insults me all the time in front of others and acts like I am evil by not letting me talk to her kids or others. Blank said that she went to Salt Lake because of all of the shelters and resources to help homeless people. I just told them my name was Blank. I stayed one night with some weird dude and sat up on the couch all night. Blank said she does not know his name and left the next morning. So that concludes the police report portion of the video. Now, the news station said that they did reach out to this police department to see if they did follow through with DCFS, and it turns out that they did not. Now, Jessi went through a lot more than what was even listed here. So again, if you have not seen the full video on Mormon Stories, I highly encourage you to go watch it. So this is what is technically considered child abuse by Utah law. The fact that the systems that are put in place to help people in these situations has failed time and time again is truly saddening. That is one of the reasons why victims don't come forward in the first place. They feel like if they do, it's just going to make their situation worse because they could possibly face retaliation from the person doing it. And this is why people sometimes wait until adulthood to finally speak up and say something. And then most of the time when they wait that long and they're in their adult years, people then question them because they waited so long. We have to do better as a society of listening to victims and what they have to say and actually doing something about it. That's all I have for you for today. If you could, please do me a huge favor and like this video. And if you want more updates on this case, be sure to subscribe.